Hey guys, Mosa here, and today I'm bringing you my 2024 mock draft post free agency. Now, without a further ado, let's get started. Now, with the first overall pick, we got the Chicago Bears selecting quarterback Caleb Williams out of Southern California. Now, if the Bears had not traded away Justin Fields, this would have been different. Maybe trade down or pick someone else. Who knows? But as soon as they traded Justin Fields, I knew it. They were going to go with Caleb Williams no matter what, and nothing will change my opinion unless something happens to Caleb Williams. Because, literally, there's no other reason to not take Caleb Williams first overall if you trade away Justin Fields. And, well, you're the Chicago Bears. So let's go. I believe it's Justin Fields' replacement, Caleb Williams, to be selected with the first overall pick. Now, on to the second overall pick, we have Washington Commanders selecting quarterback Drake May out of North Carolina. They need a quarterback. They traded Sam Howell to Seattle. And even if they had traded him, they're going to pick Drake May regardless. The thing is, I think Drake May would be an excellent quarterback for the Commanders, but I don't think he should start right away. I think you should bench him for the entire year, maybe start him week 18. But in the end, I think that 100% the benching of a rookie quarterback is the best option because you can still accept his option. You can potentially franchise tag him after that. So you got a lot of time before his actual contract, like his extension that you're going to have to give him, actually hits. So I do in fact believe that Drake May would be 100% best option for the Commanders at number 2. Now with the third overall pick, we got the New England Patriots selecting Marvin Harrison Jr. out of Ohio State, wide receiver. Now, they need wide receiver help, 100%. I think their best wide receiver was Devontae Parker, and they do got Mike Gesicki, but I don't think that's good enough at tight end either. So I think Marvin Harrison would be the best option for the Patriots. Do not select the quarterback right away. You'd rather just build your team, build it up until you can actually get your franchise quarterback, or maybe get a later round draft quarterback, maybe in the second or third round, and then build the team around him. Do not start him right away. I'd rather start Bailey Zappi at that point, or whoever is the quarterback of the New England Patriots. In the end, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. will give the best option to whoever starts in New England this season. Now with the fourth overall pick, we got the Arizona Cardinals selecting wide receiver Malik Nabers. And Malik Nabers out of LSU, he's going to be a very good option for Kyler Murray or whoever starts for them. Because you never know, maybe they get rid of Kyler Murray. Highly doubt it, but it could be an option. Right now what I'm thinking is that they need receivers, and Malik Nabers is the second best receiver in my opinion in this draft. In a loaded wide receiver draft, because there's another receiver that they could take that is still on the board at this point. And I think that in the end, they need some not only wide receiver help, but offensive line help. So maybe they could get something for Kyler Murray because, torn ACL for Kyler Murray was not good. And in the end, I think the Cardinals need the help they can get. Now, on to the fifth overall pick, where we got the Los Angeles Chargers selecting the tackle out of Notre Dame, Joe Alt. And I think Alt will be an excellent tackle for the Los Angeles Chargers, potentially protecting the blind side of Justin Herbert. They need to keep Herbert upright. They got to open some holes for the run game. And honestly, I think Joe Alt could do both of them, maybe in doing some pulls and also maybe in the pass game, he won't let a single defensive player get to his quarterback. You never know. But in the point that I'm making is they need offensive line and Joe Alt is the best available. Now with the sixth overall pick, we got the New York Football Giants selecting Rome Odunze, wide receiver out of Washington. If Nabers was still available, I think the Giants would definitely go with Nabers. Although Odunze is just as good, he could be the second or third wide receiver off the board. In my opinion, he's the third. But in the end, he did a great job for Washington, catching passes from Michael Penix Jr. And honestly, I think that it'll be an absolute great option for Daniel Jones or whoever is the starter for the New York Giants. You never know. But in the point that I'm making, they need wide receiver help and they need it fast because realistically, even I think the Giants have a lot of holes, but wide receiver is the one they should target first in this draft. Now, on to the seventh overall pick. The Tennessee Titans select cornerback Terrion Arnold out of Alabama. I think cornerback is a big need for the Titans. Now, you'd probably say, what about running back? Derrick Henry left Tennessee. Okay. But selecting a first round running back doesn't help your team. I think that Arnold is not only the best corner in this draft, but he will not leave the top 10. He would either be selected by Atlanta or Chicago if he's there. There's no doubt in my opinion on that. Definitely would not be selected by the Jets, but in the end, I in fact believe that Arnold is a first round draft pick and a top 10 pick at that. So Titans had to take him now or else they wouldn't have him. Now, on to the 8th overall pick, we got the Atlanta Falcons selecting Dallas Turner, edge rusher out of Alabama. Now, Dallas Turner, Jared Verse, and I don't remember the other name, but there's another edge rusher that will most likely go in the first round. But definitely Verse is the best in my opinion, but Dallas Turner I think fits Atlanta better than Verse would. So I think that's why the Falcons would take him over Verse. But in the end, they need defensive help, especially with some of their key stars leaving on the defensive line or the ones that have already left prior to this offseason. But in the end, I think that even though that the Falcons can do better, I think this is the best option for them in this spot here in this 2024 draft. Now on to the 9th overall pick. The Chicago Bears select Jared Verse, edge rusher out of Florida State. Now, I did say Verse is the number one edge rusher, and I think that he is. But he will be the second selected due to the fact that Atlanta would prefer Turner over Verse. But in the end, he's going to be a very good guy. I don't think he's going to be like a Khalil Mack when Khalil Mack first got to Chicago. But I think he'll be an excellent pass rusher for the Chicago Bears. He'll be a very good he'll be very good off the edge. And honestly, I think that if not Verse, probably offensive line would have gone 9th overall due to those being, in my opinion, the top needs for the Chicago Bears. Other than quarterback, obviously, because they already got theirs in Caleb Williams first overall. Now on to the 10th overall pick where the New York Football Jets select Tyrese Fuaga, offensive tackle, Oregon State. Now, I think that this will be the pick because of what happened to Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers only played 4 snaps this season. He's going to want to play more, so you better take the guys that will protect the not the franchise quarterback, but the veteran quarterback for the New York Jets as they look for their potential franchise quarterback in maybe this draft or maybe in future drafts. But as far as I can see, they need offensive line first above anything else. They need offensive line, and I think Fuaga could be that tackle they need. Now with the 11th overall pick, we got the Minnesota Vikings selecting quarterback Jayden Daniels out of LSU. Now they need a quarterback, definitely. Sam Darnold is not going to be the future of the franchise for the Vikings. So taking Jayden Daniels and putting Darnold as the starter would most likely, because that's my philosophy. My philosophy is you got a quarterback, bench him for an entire year, and then start him when he's ready. That's what I believe they should do with Jayden Daniels. The Washington Commanders should do with Drake May, and the Chicago Bears should do with Caleb Williams. They should not be putting them out into the fire immediately, and I say the same thing for Jayden, because if you do not put him out to burn at the start, you could potentially have a quarterback for the next 10, 20 seasons. Now on to the 12th overall pick, where we have the Denver Broncos selecting Quinyon Mitchell, cornerback out of Toledo. Now you're probably wondering, why not a quarterback? They don't got Russell Wilson anymore. Okay, they don't got Russell Wilson anymore, but the best quarterbacks available are off the board. I would not pick JJ McCarthy in the top 15. That would be insane. I would not even pick Michael Penix Jr. in the top 15 or Spencer Rattler. These guys will most likely be going in the later rounds. But in the pool of Denver, cornerback could be an excellent option because they need to work on that secondary. They need to stop the receivers of, well, Los Angeles. Well, not as much as because they got rid of their two top receivers, but Las Vegas and Kansas City. Yes, Kansas City doesn't have that good of receivers, but guess what? You got Patrick Mahomes back there. He's going to find whoever is his receiver. And honestly, I think that the cornerbacks of Denver right now aren't as good as we all think. So I think that this would be a great option for Denver. Now with the 13th overall pick, we got the Las Vegas Raiders selecting Olumuyiwa Fashanu. Fashanu, I think that's how you say it. I'm not sure. Offensive tackle out of Penn State. Now, they need to start building this team up. And even though I don't think Aiden O'Connell is the future, I think that at least you should put some offensive linemen to protect him. And why not start with Fashanu? Very excellent corner tackle from the Penn State Lions. But even though he's not the best, I think he's the best option for the Raiders at this point. And protecting your franchise quarterback, or any quarterback of that matter, is your number one priority, because the offense doesn't function if there is no offensive line to protect the quarterback and to open holes for the running backs. With the 14th overall pick, the New Orleans Saints select Laiatu Latu, edge rusher out of UCLA. This guy, very good edge rusher. They need some pass rushing help. They need some defensive help. And I think this guy will do very good for the New Orleans Saints. Now you're probably thinking like maybe receiver, offensive line, maybe even a running back. Although they still have Alvin Kamara as far as I know. The thing is, I think edge rusher is a top need for the New Orleans Saints. And this is the best option available. It's either him or someone else who'd probably go in the second round. And if it goes in the second round and the Saints can nab him, that would be a better option. But why not take the best one available, which is Latu. Now, with the 15th overall pick, we got the Indianapolis Colts selecting Brock Bowers, tight end out of Georgia. Now, this guy, very good quarterback. The team overall in Georgia is very good. So you probably think, why tight end? Why not receiver? You got Brian Thomas still available. Yes, you do. But in the end, some of the receivers are pretty good in Indianapolis. But is the tight end any good? That is the question. And I think Brock Bowers would be the one to help out. Not only in the passing game, but in the pass blocking game for Anthony Richardson. And that's what you need. You need help for Richardson so he doesn't get hurt again. And then the backup has to then deal with the entire season. Because honestly, I think that they selected Richardson for their future, not for their backup to just replace him. Now on to the 16th overall pick, where my Seattle Seahawks select Byron Murphy, defensive lineman out of Texas. Defensive line is one of the top needs for Seattle this season. Why not take the best available? Murphy is 100% the best available. If you were going to take a different one, I'd go with Jerzon Newton. I think he'd be an excellent defensive tackle as well. But in the end, I think that Murphy would be an excellent option for Seattle. Build up that new Legion of Boom in the secondary while building up a good defensive line to aid that new Legion of Boom. But in the end, I think that the Seattle Seahawks will go defensive line because they need it the most. Now with the 17th overall pick, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars selecting Troy Fanatu, tackle out of Washington. This guy did a very good job protecting Michael Penix Jr. He's going to have a very tough job helping out protect. I think it's going to be most likely Trevor Lawrence, but if Lawrence goes down and Mac Jones comes in, I think that he'll be protecting him just as well as he would Trevor Lawrence. And I think that they do need offensive line help. You can't let your quarterback getting injured or he'll become the next Andrew Luck and retire early. And that's not what the Jacksonville Jaguars want out of Trevor Lawrence. Now on to the 18th overall pick, we got the Cincinnati Bengals selecting Brian Thompson Jr., wide receiver out of LSU. Now, I mostly think wide receiver because of the loss of, I think they got rid of a one wide receiver, or he left in free agency, and that was Boyd. I think another one had left, and they franchise tagged, I think it was Jamar Chase, or maybe it was T. Higgins. I don't remember. But in the end, they're losing receivers. Why not select Brian Thomas Jr., which is the best receiver available at this point? And honestly, it'll be a very good option for Joe Burrow when he comes back from injury. Next up, we got the 19th overall pick. The Los Angeles Rams select Cooper DeJean, cornerback out of Iowa. Now, you're probably thinking, defensive line. They don't no longer have Aaron Donald. He retired, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, he did retire. But is that the top need? I thought so. Even though they got some good corners, I think why not add the best corner available in the draft right now, and that's Cooper DeJean at this point. I mean, you could go with Newton at defensive line, but I think DeJean would be a lot better for the Rams than Newton would. And honestly, there is no replacing Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald, and this is coming from a Seahawk fan, Aaron Donald is one of the best defensive linemen in the NFL since he was drafted, I think back in 2014, all the way until now. And he won a Super Bowl. He's got all of his awards. No wonder he retired. But there is no replacing him. There is almost no one who can replace him. And honestly, Newton ain't going to be that guy. Now with the 20th overall pick, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers selecting J.C. Latham, tackle out of Alabama. Now, you're probably wondering, why offensive line? Well, it's simple. Same reason I'm giving an offensive line to several other teams. They need to protect their quarterback, whether it be Russell Wilson, whether it be Justin Fields, or whoever else is on the roster. I think that those two should be protected no matter who starts. And Justin Fields, very young, he could potentially become the future of the Steelers. But Russell Wilson most likely will start. In the end, it doesn't matter. They need offensive line help, and Latham, and potentially even Mims or Powers Johnson, would be the best option for the Steelers, if not for Latham. With the 21st overall pick, we got the Miami Dolphins selecting Amarius Mims, tackle out of Georgia. They've got to put offensive line help for Tua. They can't let Tua getting injured every single time. So, in order to protect Tua, I think Mims would be the best option as the blindside blocker, maybe. But in the end, I think the Dolphins selecting an offensive lineman, regardless of whether it's interior offensive line or tackle, doesn't matter. In the end, they need an offensive lineman, and Mims is the best one available. And now with the 22nd overall pick, the Philadelphia Eagles select cornerback Nate Higgins out of Clemson. Their secondary is in need of help. I think that the Eagles are on a downturn right now due to the fact that pretty soon they won't be able to afford some of their players. So maybe not in this offseason, but maybe the next or the next one after that. Point is, they're going to be declining pretty soon. So I think that maybe start putting some young defensive players on that defense. And Nate Higgins would be the best option. Either him or Newton. In the end, I believe Higgins to be the best option for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now with the 23rd overall pick, the Minnesota Vikings select Jackson Powers Johnson, offensive lineman out of Oregon. Now, I think Johnson would be an excellent center or guard, potentially, for the Minnesota Vikings, protecting their franchise quarterback in Jaden Daniels. I think that this would be a great pick at this selection. No other pick is needed for the Vikings at this moment. I think they should work on the offensive line, to whether it be Sam Darnold, highly doubt it, or Jaden Daniels at the starting quarterback position in the future. They should always have an offensive line and protecting him. And why not go with one of the best from Oregon in Powers Johnson? Now, on to the 24th overall pick, we got the Dallas Cowboys selecting defensive lineman Jerzon Newton out of Illinois. I think that they need help on the defensive line and offensive line, but I'm going to focus more on the D line since Powers Johnson is off the board. In the end, I think that this would be a great option for the Cowboys. Build up a defensive line for your team, and honestly, Newton would be a very good option to that defensive line of the Cowboys and potentially giving the Cowboys a chance, as I said, a chance to potentially win a playoff game against a 7th seed. Now on to the 25th overall pick, we got the Green Bay Packers selecting Graham Barton, interior offensive line of Duke. Now, they need to protect their quarterback in Jordan Love. Jordan Love had a very good season for a quarterback who has not played in his entire rookie contract up until now. And honestly, I think that protecting him would be the best option right now. And Graham Barton would definitely be that guy to protect your franchise quarterback. Honestly, I see no one else doing the same as Barton in this draft. Now, there may be a few that you could take here, but I think Barton would be the best option. With the 26th overall pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select cornerback Kool-Aid McKinnister out of Alabama. Now, I think that their offense is pretty much good enough to make the playoffs. Now, why don't you add some defensive players like McKinnister onto that secondary? And honestly, I think that this would be a deadly secondary with him. Even though they probably won't make the Super Bowl again, not like they did with Tom Brady. But in the end, I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers could still potentially do their best and potentially make the playoffs again and win a playoff game. Who knows? Maybe they'll even make the NFC title game. Now, moving on to the 27th overall pick, we got the Arizona Cardinals selecting the Mayuno Robinson. I don't know if I said the first name correct, but whatever. Edge rusher out of Penn State. Now, they need a lot. They need receiver, which they already got. They need a edge rusher, which is this guy. They need offensive line. They need all the help they can get. This guy's the best edge rusher available. Other than him, I'd probably take Darius Robinson. But in the end, I think this guy fits Arizona better than Robinson, although either option could work for the Cardinals. Now, with the 28th overall pick, we got the Buffalo Bills selecting Adonai Mitchell, wide receiver out of Texas. Now, it's obvious they need receiver help after trading away Stephon Diggs, but I think that was a good option, and selecting a receiver in this draft is an even better option. Him or maybe even McConic. I don't know. He's like either one of the two could go 28th, but I think that Mitchell actually fits the bill for the Bills. So I think that would be the best option for Buffalo in this draft, 28th overall. Now on to the 29th overall pick. We got the Detroit Lions selecting Ladd McConkey, wide receiver out of Georgia. Now, Ladd, like I said, he could have gone 28th, but I think he goes 29 instead. And that Dan Campbell offense becomes even better. And Jared Goff, he's playing out of his mind now, but I don't think that's going to happen as much next year, this season. But you never know. I, for one, thought he was going to lose to Patrick Mahomes in week 1 this past season. But he ended up basically changing my mind. In the end, I think that McConaughey would be a better option than other receivers that are still available for the Lions. If not, they would have either gone Jordan Morgan or Tyler Guyton at tackle. Now with the 30th overall pick, we got the Baltimore Ravens selecting Tyler Guyton, tackle out of Oklahoma. Now, I think that this guy is going to have to be the blindside protector for Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson, he's become what RG3 was supposed to be. Obviously, RG3 did not have the same luxuries as Lamar. But in the end, I think that Tyler Guyton would be the excellent blindside blocker, or even on the right side, who knows. But I think he'd be the best blindside blocker for Lamar Jackson this next season. But in the end, I think that they need offensive line and protect Lamar Jackson and open holes for those running backs. Now, on to the 31st overall pick, where the San Francisco 49ers select Darius Robinson, edge rusher of Missouri. Now, like I said, he could have gone to the Cardinals 27th, but I thought, nope, they were going to go with Robinson and the DeMille, or whatever his name was, out of Penn State. This guy will be the one to help out Nick Bosa on that defensive line, because after Chase Young left the 49ers, I think that this is going to be the best option for the 49ers, having Robinson on one side and Nick Bosa on the other. In the end, defensive line and even offensive line are in need for the 49ers this offseason. Now, to cap off the first round of the 2024 NFL mock draft of mine after the free agency, we got the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champions back-to-back, take Jordan Morgan, tackle out of Arizona. Protect your quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. Open holes for Pacheco, whoever's in the backfield. And when it comes down to it, receivers are another need, but I think that they can get some in the next round, maybe in the third as well. In the end, I think Morgan would be the best option for Patrick Mahomes, as they need some guys to protect them after that game against the Las Vegas Raiders nearing the end of the season. I think it was on Christmas. So, yeah, after that game, I think that they need offensive line, even though they still won a Super Bowl. Now, that was it for this video. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Who do you think should have been selected first, and who do you think should have been selected in the first round instead of all of these guys? Tell me down in the comments below. Now, like this video if you liked it, subscribe, and hit the notification if you want more videos. And I'll see you guys next time.